Good evening, and you're very welcome to another episode of Treaty Talk, episode 261, with Tom Clancy and Matt O'Callaghan of the Weekly Observer and Vale Star newspapers. Another couple of busy weeks since we were last on air, and Matt, we take a look back at, I suppose, recent ongoings in Limerick J in terms of competitive action. We'll start with the culmination of the adult teams, as it were, from Limerick, the representatives. Munster St. Paul's beaten last weekend in the Munster Intermediate, and the weekend before we saw Phoenix Media defeated in the Junior Championship. Munster, by all accounts, just not at the level required against Kilnamatra of Cork. The scoreline probably tells its own tale, but a slow start, or a fast start, if you like, for the Cork side, that set the tone, and unfortunately Munster's just simply no match.
Yeah, true, Tom. You know, the conditions played a factor, were a factor in it, and you know, when you're going to a game like as underdogs, which Munster went in as underdogs, because you must remember that no team outside of Cork and Kerry has ever won this competition. You know, and there seems to be a huge disparity in standard between teams from Cork and Kerry and the rest. I know you might say in many ways it's mirroring football entirely in the province, because we can see the big two and the rest right through all the grades, and you know it certainly manifests in the clubs championship. But there was a strong wind blowing, and obviously it was very, very important from a Munster point of view that they should get the assistance of the wind, I think, in the first half, and put a bit of pressure on Kilnamatra and build up a bit of a lead. But lo and behold, it was Kilnamatra had the wind, flew out of the traps, and had a huge score up before Munster even got their first score after 24 minutes. So, you know, at halftime, it was nearly game done and dusted. But full credit to Munster, Tom, because at one stage in the second half, they scored 6 points without reply, because it looked very, very bleak for them at halftime, and it looked bleaker again after halftime when Kilnamatra got a goal. But full credit to them, they never laid down arms. They kept battling. But again, Tom, it just brings, you know, to light again what we were saying last week about the format for this competition. And we have seen already, you know, in the hurling, where Kerry senior champions are playing at intermediate level. And we can see it right across the codes in camogie and in ladies football, very, very satisfactorily. At least clubs can be competitive, and you know, there is nowhere in a successfully formatted competition, I think, except on rare occasions, that you see an 11 points difference between the winners and runners up. But this seems to be a trend, other than when Cork and Kerry meet in the final. So I don't know how sustainable the competition in its present format is, and I think it needs looking at it. And you know, I say again, which I've said often in the past about different things, I don't think doing nothing is an option, Tom. And like Munster, to their credit now, put up a very, very creditable performance. But this is the second year in a row where Limerick teams have suffered pretty heavy defeats in the provincial final. And it is very, very disappointing, because I honestly believe that, and I don't want to detract from them from 1 minute, you know, that Munster had a good side. Like, I've seen him during the year. I've been hugely impressed with him. And they're going up senior now. And, you know, the hope will be that, you know, that they'll raise some ripples in the senior championship, because it badly needs it, because it's kind of tweedledee, tweedledum now at this stage, because it's mirroring the the senior hurling championship with the same 4 teams reaching the last 4. Like we need to get out of that rut, But what I say is, I say fair play to Mungret. As I said, they didn't lay down arms. They battled and they battled and they battled to the final whistle, and it's their first, I suppose, major defeat of the year. Like it has been a phenomenal year by any benchmark for Mungret St. Paul. So but just Kilnamartyr proved the bridge too far. And I suppose we were to expect that, for the simple reason that now they did have home advantage in the quarter-final and semi-final. And it proved to be enough to overturn the Kerry champions, Milltown Castlemaine. Like, I think a Cork team hasn't won the Intermediate Championship since 2013, when Clyde Rovers won it, until last Sunday. So that'll give you an idea of the level of dominance of the Kerry team. So, and look, I don't know where we have the 13 team in Limerick playing. I don't know what team in Cork, but I think the competition has to be restructured. And I'm not saying that as sour grapes because Limerick teams were beaten. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I'm being pragmatic about it. And the template is there for it, Tom. It's there, as I said, with relation to the Kerry senior hurling team playing in the Intermediate Championship. Limerick, would say senior camogie champions playing in the Munster Intermediate Championship, our ladies football champions playing in the Munster Intermediate Championship. Like, the template is there right across the codes, except in football. And I think, in fairness, I think it is needed more in men's football than it is in any of the other 3 because of the duopoly of Kerry and Cork.
Yeah, I put it to you though that just to end on that point with regards to this game, is there an appetite from Limerick, Waterford, Clare and Tipperary for them to really go after this and get this changed by Munster Council? I don't know if there is. I don't think there's enough real worry that this is an issue for Waterford football or Limerick football, or I maybe I'm reading that wrong, but maybe that's my sense that, as you say, they're happy enough to do nothing about it.
Tom, I don't think I would not discount your sense on that one now, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I honestly think that there certainly is an element of it.
Yeah.
Like, I put it to you, ahead with the same disparity in hurling.
Not even close, Not even close.
We'd be hearing ructions and what have you, But I look, for the integrity of the competition, it is no good for the competition to be getting wedded finals. Like, the aim of a competition should be to bring the best 2 clubs or the best 2 counties through to the final and final day and let them slog it out after that. But that is not happening at this level. You see, I was at the South Convention last night in Bulgan, and there was a contest for the secretaryship, which was a surprise because Veronica Farrell stood down, and there was a contest between Murphy and performance and all that sort of thing. It was the type of competition, the type of discussion, and there was a full representation of clubs by 2 there. But it was the type of I would like to hear at a higher level, i.e. the county board. And it was unfortunate seeing the county board were absent last night, because it would have brought home to them exactly how the clubs are feeling on the ground. So, and football was very, very much the target of the discussion. And I was particularly pleased to hear that for the simple reason that I don't accept for 1 minute that football should have second-class citizenship in our county. And it was a very, very interesting discussion. And, it's a discussion that should be carried on, as I said, at a higher level. And, there was a certain this last night with the whole all that's been handed down from the top, which I've been preaching about for a long, long time. And as somebody had said, like that, we at county board level, all we do now is be nodding muppets and rubber stamp the diktats from that the clubs no longer have any say. And it's time that the clubs fight back, Tom.
Yeah.
But that's very, very far away from Mungret and Kilnamatra now.
Yeah.
And I deviated on that because when we were talking about the disparity in the football, but congratulations to Kilnamatra, but also congratulations to Mungret. It was very, very easy. It would have been very, very easy for Mungret, particularly when the second goal went in after half time. Now, they had the assistance of the breeze to throw in the towel, but far from it. They kicked 6 points in a row, and gave themselves an outside chance. But long term, not long term, going forward, I think the competition has to be looked at, or the structure of the competition has to be looked at. I spoke about the junior football last week. Now, the situation isn't as serious at senior level, mind you, because like the senior championship has come to a Limerick clubs quite well. It came to UL or Thomond College back in the day, in the early days, with an all-star team. But Drumcollar Bradford brought the title back to Limerick in 2008, which was a major breakthrough for the smaller counties.
Yeah, and it's been there for...
Or the so-called weaker four. But we don't have enough of it.
No, indeed not. And just to finish on the Munger point, I'm sure that those two games at Munster and maybe the other day in particular may stand them in good stead for senior, and maybe that's how they spin it, and I'm sure they'll be competitive at senior next season. And at this early outset,
I have no doubt. I have no doubt whatsoever about that, Tom. I'm looking forward to seeing Mungret, and I'm looking forward to Mungret upsetting what has become nearly an annual thing now at the moment, with the same 4 teams going through like we have in the hurling. We need fresh faces. We need new faces in there. And, I think Mungret probably and Kildima Pallaskenry probably represent, and I'll probably be killed by the other 6 clubs at the moment, but from what I'm looking at it at the moment, they probably represent the best chance of breaking into the top 4.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with you on that, certainly at this time of the year. Matt, county title for under 21 was handed out, and it was a team from the south, a team from the south that was beaten, Knockany beaten by Croke Kilfinney Rackeel in the under 21B final. Goals from Jack Shields and Declan Walsh. Matt, this grade thankfully seemed to move along at a good rate of knots. It got finished, well before Christmas, which was the worry from the outset. But Croke Kilfinney and obviously the players from Rackeel too, building nicely all the time at that level. And I think any under 21 title will be welcomed by a club, by both clubs that are trying to build out in the west there. So congratulations to them. A good end of the year for 2 clubs there.
A good end of the year, not just a good end of the year, but a very, very good final. Very, very good final, and a lot of quality hurling in it. Now, the ground was heavy. What ground isn't heavy at this time of the year? But full credit to Croke Kilfinney. And at one stage, they looked as if they were going to go out of sight. They were 8 points up, and Knockany got a goal in 2 points. And with 7 minutes to go, there was only a goal in it, and it was really, really game on. But then Croke Kilfinney Rathkeil, they seem to find that extra gear on the home straight. And actually, from the time that Kenny scored in the 53rd minute, brought it down to a goal, there wasn't another score until injury time. Yeah. So, it was on a knife edge. And it was then I think Keano Carroll settled nerves when he made it a 4-point game. And after that, they were able to see it out. Cornerback Kevin D came up and got a point from the corner, and I think it was Ivan Barrett that got the final score of the game, who had come on as a substitute. But it was a very, very good game, considering the conditions at this time of the year. Conditions are going to be playing heavy, no matter what the prevailing conditions are, because the ground is heavy. We've had so much rain, but it was a very, very good way to finish the B Championship. And had you just walked in there to Kilmallock and didn't know what game was on, you'd struggle to believe that it was at a B level, because it was a good standard of hurling, I thought. Oh, Jack Shields got the first goal, and he reminded me after the game that his goal was worth the mention on Treaty Talk. Jack, congratulations. And in fairness, it was a very, very good goal, Jack. They got two very, very good goals. Jack got the first one and Declan Walsh got the second. And they were crucial scores, because, as I said, at one stage, at the three-quarter stage, Croke Kilfinney were 8 points up, and you sort of couldn't see where the spark was coming from in Kenny, but by God, it came with a very good goal by Owen Cleary and a couple of points. And Patrick Rail, who had a fine game at midfield, former Limerick minor, of course. And, but when push came to shove, and when they got on the home straight, and, when Croke Kilfinney were back within their sights, they just weren't able to close the gap anymore. Croke Kilfinney battened down the hatches, and they got the vital scores. As I said, there were 7 minutes without a score. And then they got the extra 3 points. But congratulations to Croke Kilfinney, Rathkeil. And, I don't think there's anybody in this county would begrudge them their success, because it has been a difficult time, particularly at intermediate level for Croke Kilfinney. That after losing 3 intermediate championships finals in a row. And personally, myself, I know what that feels like. Glenroe did that in the 70s when I was the chairman of the club, and I'll tell you, it's not a very pleasant place to be.
Yeah, so I'm sure any bit of silverware welcomed back there on the N21, as it were, and obviously Rathkeil playing their part too. And as you say, intermediate weights for them next season, and I suppose these players may be clashing again at intermediate with Knockany, of course, involved in that grade. Matt, we'll come upwards through the grades, as it were, the under 28.
Just before you go from that, Tom, we missed out last week, but we also missed out in looking back at Fianna and St. Catherine's.
Yes, of course, yeah. 2-point defeat, the Munster Junior final.
Yeah, which was a very, very, very good game, and I'll tell you, Fianna Kilmedia really, really, really came within touching distance of doing it, despite conceding a very early goal. But again, it was a game of hurling, a good game of hurling, and unfortunately for Fianna Kilmedia, they had to play the last 15 minutes without John O'Gorman, and obviously he took a knock, and he'd be one of their key players. He took a knock in the semi-final win over the Banner in Innis, and it just caught up with him. Now, they were also not helped by the sending off of one of their defenders with 9 minutes to go for a second yellow offence. So, going down the home straight, it was really, really difficult for them. But by God, did they put up some fight with 14 players, and could have nearly snatched it at the end. And, a long ball dropped in. Dermot Coleman dropped it in, and it was the break that could have gone either way. But luckily, from a St. Catherine's point of view, it went their way. And Dermot Coleman was in fantastic form again from frees and a couple of good points from play. And But overall, it was a very, very good performance by Fine Kilmeedy. I feel very sorry for him. I have to say, you know, you lose 2 county finals, you lose a provincial semi-final and a final, and you know it's not particularly the hurling ones. You know, it is not that you know you were well beaten or anything like that. Like you get beaten on penalties in the county final. You get beaten by 2 points in the provincial final. You know, like I'd have to say that Mark Keane and his selectors, they did a fantastic job there, because like after winning the semi-final with Banner, the following week they had to go out and play Kilmurray in the football semi-final, which was something they needed like a hole in the head, because there are so many players that are dual players.
All bar one, yeah.
But Mark Keane and his management team, they really got him focused for the final. And, you know, you talk about getting a tune out of him. They got a very sweet tune out of him, which came very, very, so close. And, you know, if Mungret, you know, are the story of the year from a club point of view, I think Fine Kilmeedy need the unwanted accolade of you know, the unlucky club of the year, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Heartbreakingly
full
so.
credit to them, you know, to get to both county finals, you know, and now I know that Kilmurray were superior in the football, but like the way they went down to Innis and dug a win out of Banner, who were playing in their second year in the competition.
Yeah,
you know, and didn't come up, you know, 7 days. Now, Brian Hannigan took a knock in Waterford, but it didn't seem to affect him. He played very, very well in the hurling final, but John O'Gorman was obviously taking the injury into the final. So, you know, and he missed the last 15 minutes. And as I said, they had a player sent off with 9 minutes to go.
Yeah, so commiserations to Fine Kilmeedy. They probably didn't need reminding of those facts, but they are the facts, and we'll see now into 2024 if they can raise themselves again, and who knows, they may indeed prevail in Limerick and into Munster. But Matt, just as I said, going back towards the middle grade, as it were, in under 21A, Cushlee Gales versus Maruboher, a Saturday 1 p.m. throw-in at the moment. That's where it's penciled in for in Kilmallock. Remind us, Cushlee Gales is a combination, and who's involved in it?
Effin and Staker Wallace.
Yeah, so the men from the south again.
It's a combination. It's a combination that has been in existence. Gosh, I'd say it has been in existence possibly 15 years now, and you know, I think it's providing an opportunity for hurlers within the catchment areas of both clubs, like to be involved at a decent level, because the chances of either fielding a team in their own right are pretty remote. Now, you say what has it done for the respective clubs? You know, you'd have to say from an Effin point of view that it has been an outstanding success. Like they won the intermediate championship last year, beaten in the semi-final this year, and were kind of hot favourites going into the semi-final. So they're on an upward trajectory. Unfortunately for the Staker Wallace, they lost their Junior A status this year, and will be featuring in the Junior B Championship next year. But there is a story behind that, in that they lost 5 or 6 players that have gone to Australia, down under, below with our former colleague Jack.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the story behind that. But you know, this is going to give him an opportunity to rebuild. And there was all sorts of rumours going around that the Staker Wallace club was going out of existence, which I found very alarming on a personal basis, having most of my family been coming from the Staker Wallace. But thankfully that's not true. Don't believe a bit of it. They had an AGM, and they have everything up and running and ready for next year. So let's hope that, you know, that this is the start of the fight back by Stakers. But it's going to be a very, very interesting final between two very, very good sides. Now, you have probably Maru were probably the more impressive in particularly in the semi-final stages. If we look at the semi-finals as being some sort of a barometer as to what might happen on Saturday, because they had a very, very good win over Crocora Manister South Liberties, who were powered by Carl O'Neill. And now it was pretty even Steven in the first half. But Maru Bohar put on a very, very powerful performance in the second half to run out easy winners. Now, Coshley Gales beat Glenroe in the semi-final after extra time, and when you'll be looking at them, you'll be looking at Patrick O'Donovan, possibly Evan Dillon, who was with the UL Freshers that won the Freshers during the week, Sean Canning, possibly looking at Fergal O'Connor, and plenty good names. But it will be a very, very interesting final. I wouldn't dream of putting my head in the block and say who I think will win it.
Yeah.
If you're edging for a prediction, you're not going to get it.
No, we're out of predictions now this time of year.
But I'm really looking forward to that game. I'm going to that game on Saturday. It's 1:00 in Kilmallock. It was originally scheduled to be in Cappamore, but it has been changed since. I think possibly Tuesday night, was it?
Yeah.
Last night. Look, it's changed anyway. That county final is on in Kilmallock at 1:00 on Saturday.
Yeah, and if people are short of a hurling fix, I think there'll be no harm to get down there. Matt, Wednesday evening, Wednesday coming, that is the 20th of December, for those who this time of year they start to lose track of what day is what, but Wednesday the 20th will play host to the Premier under-21 hurling final. Mungret St. Paul's, who lost in last year's final to Ballybrown, against Monaleen, who dethroned the champions Ballybrown in a semi-final. Mungret St. Paul's needed extra time to defeat Na Piarsaigh to reach this decider. Now, a lot of the championship match has been played on artificial surface, but it's back to the good old grindstone out in McNeville Park on Wednesday night. There's two incredible teams, I think, here, full of stars, full of up-and-coming names that everyone is wondering, well, how did he play? What did he do? How did he get on? That's the caliber player. People are talking about them in John Kiley's panel. Some of them are obviously already in the panel. Two great lineups. I'm just looking at the Monaleen, some of the players, Donncha O'Donnell, Dara Langan, Matt Fitz, Joe Fitz. And I was actually at the semi-final with Ballybrown. Dara Furland, who was a Limerick minor in 2022. So he's under 18 still. He comes on and scores 4 points when the game was there to be won. Loads of talent. And I haven't even got near Mungret yet, but loads of talent in these two teams. This should be a cracking final.
Sure, look, it's one of the highlights of the it's one of the highlights of the year, the Premier Under-21 final, and for the most part, it has never failed to deliver. And of course, you'll be mad about me for saying this. Like, we had a great final last year when your own Ballybrown beat Mungret St. Paul's in Paddy Carroll Park. It was a great final, but just having a broad look at it, Tom. The semi-finals of the Premier Under-21 championship this year represented for me a massive turnaround in the fortunes of the game of hurling in Limerick City. We had 4 Limerick semi-finalists. It's not long ago since we were worried about the state of hurling in Limerick City. This now pre the John Kiley era, But first of all, you had Na Piarsaigh emerging as a super club, and now what has happened. You have Monaleen following suit, Ballybrown following suit, Mungret St. Paul's following suit. So, there's going to be 4 huge clubs in the city, and good for the game of hurling, and good for the county. But you just wonder what will it do for our own local domestic competitions? where you have clubs out in the country struggling to field 15 or 18 players. But I have the utmost admiration for those clubs, because it's not by accident that they're contesting the Premier intermediate semi-finals and finals. It's because of the hard work that they have put in and the environment that they have created within their own clubs to make it attractive for young lads to play hurling. So, let's get that out of the way. But this is all the ingredients of a great final. Mungret St. Paul's on a great year. They needed extra time to see off na Piarsaigh. And na Piarsaigh, it's not too long ago since na Piarsaigh won 6 in a row in this competition. And they saw him off. And then you had Mona Lean dethroning Ballybrown. And, from the list of names that you gave me there, Donegal Dawley, a league and an All-Ireland medal to his name. You have Dara Langan, very good county minor team. Matt Fitzgerald, another county minor. Joe Fitzgerald, county under 21. Dara Fairland, who was one of the key players for Limerick minors last year.
Yeah, sorry, this year.
Yeah,
this year. Around like that. Yeah.
Just a year from the start, he had to settle for a place in the bench.
Yeah, wearing the number 30, Matt. That'll tell you the depth, involved in modelling. But it's incredible, the talent out there. And look, some of these guys will want to get on to Evan Loftus's under-20 team, the likes of Dara Furland and guys that are eligible. And other guys will have loftier ambitions in the short, medium, and indeed long term to get in with John Kiley and co. So they know there's a lot at stake here in terms of, obviously, they're at stake for their own club, but personally for these players. And I'm sure Munger have a few that would fall into both of those categories as well.
And sure, we haven't mentioned Ronan Lyons at all.
Yeah, just a name that escaped me. But yeah, in around their other team at midfield or centre back, and again I think he was centre back against Ballybrown last week. Great, good players. I'm not sure the name of their goalkeeper, and I hope he'll forgive me for getting it. But he pulled off a save in the semi-final match. That I tell you, there's other goalkeepers in the country got all-stars off the back of saves they made this year. He made a save from Aidan O'Connor after about 20 minutes in this game, where I think the umpire was nearly...
Before you go any further, don't attempt for 1 minute to stray into the All-Stars.
No. The Modeling goalkeeper, his name escapes me now.
And particularly All-Star goalkeepers.
Wasn't Licky quiet. But the Modeling goalkeeper, Aidan O'Connor, beat 2 or 3 players, as he so typically does, and for about 20 metres unleashed a bullet that effectively was going into the postage stamp, as people will call it, and somehow a hurley came flying out and tipped it around for 65. I tell you, everyone that was in UL was certain the net was going to bulge. And again, forgive me for not getting his name, but he knows who he is, and everyone else there knows who he is. So I tell you, it's not just the forwards that catch the eye around here. There's plenty good and bad, or plenty of goods up and down these teams. And look, McNeville Park with the stand now completely.
Mungret St. Paul will have that big players too.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. Now, Liam Lynch is going to be there, isn't he?
Yeah, still eligible.
Fintan Fitzgerald is going to be there.
Yeah. The younger of the Duffs.
Barry Duff is going to be there.
Barry Duff, yeah.
So, if you ever had the perfect ingredients for a great final, here it is.
And not to mind that they know each other so well as well, from obviously school and colleges and probably some of them in UL together now and all the rest of it. It makes for a great final. We will revisit that.
And the potential that they could possibly, they're actually meeting in the
2 days later
in the Premier Under-21 football semi-final.
Yeah, a perfect segue. Yeah, so the Premier Under-21 semi-finals there. Our Newcastle West will play Father Casey's, and Mona Lean will play Mungret St. Paul's in those semi-finals. They're down for the 22nd. which is Friday, and that's last Friday before Christmas. And then the final is penciled in for the 27th, which is the day after Stephen's Day. So 5 clubs, I suppose, still in it, Matt. Father Casey's there, Newcastle West, Monley, Mungret, St. Paul's. And again, it's these sides who come and come again, and they keep churning out good quality teams in the codes. But a unique one for Mungret and Monaghan. One of them will probably be in tears 48 hours earlier, and then they'll be meeting again in a football semi-final. So it's a strange dynamic.
It is, and two interesting semi-finals in potential, because one is an all-West semi-final and the other is an all-City semi-final, and it'll be decided. Father Casey's will know who they're playing on this Friday evening, when Adair and Newcastle West meet in what is the final round of the group stages. And we know what Adair and Newcastle West in the group stages is a huge game in its own right, because we know the history between these clubs, particularly at senior level, over the last number of years.
Yeah.
So, there'll be a real battle for bragging rights there. But whatever comes out of it, Monaghan and Mungret is a mouth-watering prospect in the semi-final. Father Casey's against Adair and Newcastle is equally a mouth-watering prospect. So we're down to 4 very good teams in the Premier under 21 football championship. And I've no doubt that the Limerick under 20 management will be keeping a very, very close eye on these two semi-finals, with a view to seeing what's available to them for the under 20 football championship in Munster the coming year, because 3 years ago in 2021, Limerick ran Cork very, very closely in the Munster minor football final. So you would hope that 3 years down the road that Limerick were beaten by Cork last year. You were there, you and I were there together, Tom, and talking to Shane Kelly after, and he talking about the number of players that got a run out last year that will be available again this year. It's going to be very, very happening. So it's something we look forward to, and perhaps the new change and the new structure in the Munster under 20 football championship will suit Limerick.
Yeah,
in that before they go in to meet one of the meaty Cork or Kerry, like that, they will have at least 3 games under their belts, possibly 4.
Yeah.
So
couldn't agree more. Yeah. That's
I'm straying again, Tom. We've 2 fantastic Premier semi-finals to look forward to, and I be a small bit disappointed. They'll say O'Callaghan is cribbing about everything tonight, but I'm not. It's a pity like that we get the potential of games of this quality, and it's going to be decided in 5 days.
Yeah.
Or either side, 3 days before and 2 days after Christmas.
Yeah.
I just wonder, is that a better way for rescheduling this competition?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But I think, as I said last time, and we won't develop this point now, but it is the grade where guys are coming from 17s, 19s, and guys are playing with adult teams. So it's a very difficult one to fit in. But I'm sure someone out there has some solution for it. Matt, looking down the grades, under 21A, Ballylanders and Na Piarsaigh are into the semi-finals from their group. We don't know who they'll face just yet. Ula and Ballysteen leading the way in Group 2. Shannon Gales, which is Shannon Gales Atay, which is a combination of St. Senan's, Gerald Griffins and Atay are in the mix. So Ula will need to defeat Kildown-Pallaskenry to win the group, and Shannon Gales will need to defeat Ballysteen to jump them in the table. So look, we can't predict too much here, but Ballylanders, the Piarsaigh anyway, in the hat, and 2 from Ula, Ballysteen and Shannon Gales will join them. So that one is quickly coming to the end.
Personally, I'm happy Ballylanders are through safely to the last 4, yes. And
Their business done early.
there is looking at that the concluding stages of that championship. There is the potential for a repeat of last year's final. In last year's final, Ballysteen beat Ballylanders in the final in a dare.
Yeah.
So the potential is there that it may happen again, unless, of course, that Ballysteen end up runners-up in the group and they will be playing Ballylanders in the semi-final. But there's a strong possibility that a semi-final or the final will be a repeat of last year's final.
Yeah. So the semi-finals at the moment down for the 22nd, and the final then I think a couple of days after Christmas as well. The under 21B, 27th as well. Yeah, the under 21B Kappa Rathkeil will face Drumcollar Broadford, and Ahan will face Ballybrick and Bohermore, who are also combined with Fedamore. A bit like the hurling match. It's clubs that may not have the depth of footballers that they may like, but nevertheless, piece of silverware not a million miles away, with 2 more hurdles to jump in order to collect something just before the end of the year. Yeah,
Tom, but Drumcollar Broadford are in the semi-final, my understanding, without playing a game.
Right, I wasn't aware of that. Yeah,
there's something dramatically wrong if that be the situation. No blame at all, of course, to Drum Broadford.
Yeah,
they went into the draw in good faith, and if they get walkovers, but that what it tells me is that, look, I just don't know.
Yeah,
but, it's a situation that shouldn't be happening.
Clubs need to, if clubs put in a team and the team never fields, I think that is a serious issue at any court. If they never so much as kick a ball, whatever about being not prepared that well, that's a separate issue. But for a team to affiliate, club to put in a team and then not have the players, there needs to be a proper survey done of their own individuals at the start of the year. Will you play football in November, December? No. If the answer is no, then there's no point putting in the team. Simple as that. It's only wasting time, resources, effort, energy, everything of other people that have nothing to do with your own club. I think it's fair to say. So, yeah, disappointing. We won't open that can of worms, Matt, fully today. Since
we could be hit by those worms, there'd be so many.
Yes. But I tell you, Matt, schools, the draw for the Harty Cup quarterfinals was done in recent days. I think it was last week, and lo and behold, it has thrown up the Limerick Derby. So we are guaranteed one Limerick team in the semi-final, but we're also guaranteed that one more Limerick team will be going home. Then John the Baptist Hospital will face Ardscoil in early January. And while Ardscoil will probably, on a lot of paper, holds all the aces, I tell you, it's not a bad hospital side. They'll push them all the way. It should be an exciting occasion, I'm sure, nonetheless, for a knockout game between an all Limerick clash.
Yeah, sure. It's sort of the standout fixture, isn't it? Because John the Baptist, they picked up 3 points in the group stages out of a possible 4, and then went on to beat Our Ladies of Templemore, who have, been there or thereabouts in this competition over a number of years, and now find themselves pitted against Ardscoil. But when you come to this stage of the competition, when you come to the last 8, last 4, all that sort of thing, you have to beat what's in front of you and what's left in it. If you're to make it, and it might be as good a time as any for Ardscoil, for John the Baptist to be meeting Ardscoil. And I think his John the Baptist team that's drawn, I think, exclusively from Limerick, if I'm not mistaken.
I think there might be one player from Emily, just over the border. In fairness, on the extended panel, as far as I know, the entirety of the team that has played so far are Limerick players. Guys who've taken to the field are Limerick-based players.
Ardscoil would have an influx of players from Clare, including 3 All-Ireland winners, which, as you said, will make them very, very strong, plus the 2 Limerick cornerbacks of last year. plus Fintan Fitzgerald of Mungret St. Paul's. You can go on and go on. They really have a very, very good side. And but you're right. I think it'll be a very, very interesting quarter-final. Now, Ardscoil Reach will rightly start as favourites and firm favourites. But I'd be slow to discount Hospital when they get on a run.
Yeah, definitely. They have momentum after the 2 wins and the draw in between, I suppose, as well. So it's an exciting fixture, and that will be played I think it's the first week of January. So we'll wait on the venue on that one. Maybe weather dependent, but I'm sure the students in both schools are mad to get out and mad for their teachers to bring them along. The guys in the younger years and all that, they'll make all this colour, noise, sound, everything that we'd associate with these games. So that's an exciting one to look forward to in the new year. Matt, just to touch in brief, UL Freshers won the football and hurling titles. John O'Grady involved as the manager from ULA. Now, no Limerick players directly involved in the team on the day, but nevertheless, it'll tell you that John O'Grady knows his stuff. We've seen him down the years involved with so many different teams, ladies football, men's football, in with his own club ULA. It's good to see John having success, and obviously good, no harm that UL is enjoying success in hurling and as I'm saying here in football as well.
Yeah, it was a spectacular double, and I would like to congratulate John O'Grady. I would like to second everything that you said there about him. The contribution that John O'Grady has made to Limerick football and to football in general over the years has been simply phenomenal at every level. If you talk about a football man, he's the paragon of what a real football man is. He lives and breathes football and knows his football. So I'm delighted for John on a personal basis that he led the UL Freshers to that success. And of course, the hurlers were very successful as well. And basically, the hurlers was a Limerick was an entire Limerick backroom. Tom, your Dave Clahassy of Fedamore, Keane Heatherman of Ballybrown, Jody Hannon of Adair, Mark Keane of South Liberties, who was also with Feeney Kilmeady, and Tom Murphy of Doon.
Yeah.
All behind the scenes. Again, a very, very strong management team there, people that know the game. And we had a couple of Limerick players that featured in that, in Darrell Langan from O'Neill, Evan Dillon of F and Jack Butler of Ahan, and Sam Hickey of Adair. So it augurs well for UL going forward.
Yeah, and speaking of UL going forward, Fitzgibbon Cup, defending champions. The draw was done. Now, I don't actually have the draw to hand here, but just looking at the panels that were up online there last week or last few days, the UL team is it's more. There's some amount of Limerick talent in it. Adam English, Colin Coughlin, Brian O'Grady need no introduction. Conor Hanley Clark of Kilmallock, of course, Ben Hurley, Castletown Ballygrand, Diarmuid Hegarty, who's Scorod's younger brother, Donica O'Dalik of Monleen, as we know, senior panelist Fergal O'Connor is in that space, Aidan O'Connor, Patrick O'Donovan of Effin. She's nearly running out of breath there. That's some cohort of Limerick men involved in this UL panel. I think they put up a 35-man panel. It's great to see so many Limerick players, and there's ebbs and flows with Fitzgibbon hurling. Sometimes there may be very few Limerick players across the teams, but if we just look at UL now specifically for a minute, it's great to see so many Limerick panelists and guys who are not in that space at the moment, but so many talented players from right across the county playing with their local college. It's great to see.
Look, it's fantastic. It's fantastic to see it, and if you think back to the lead up to this, phenomenal run of success that Limerick have enjoyed, very many of those players were involved in the Fitzgibbon Cup. Yeah. Particularly with UL and a couple with UCC, and Seamus Flanagan was involved with UCD. So, it's a very, very important competition in the development of players and players transitioning from underage to senior. And just looking at the names that you called out there, counting them as you called them out, 7 of those players have played senior with Limerick.
Yeah, so it's half an inter-county team in one way, and that's just looking at the Limerick players involved. So, and that's just
And
well.
Conor Handy Clark has played in an All Ireland under 20.
Yeah.
So and Dermot Hegarty has played in the Munster final under 20, didn't he?
Yeah, dogged by injury, I think, as well down here. So hopefully he's back to full fettle. Just to touch Matt as well, Mary I still managed by Jamie Wall, who you mentioned. You didn't mention Mary I there a minute ago, but obviously they had the likes of Declan Hannon, Richie English, Aaron Gallan, these guys down the years, Cian Lynch, of course, Darragh O'Donovan, they all went through that schooling, as it were, in terms of hurling and indeed education. So now Jamie Wall is looking at Jason Gallan, Vince Harrington. Of course, we saw him with the Piercy prominently this year. Sean Whelan of Cappamore, Shane O'Brien, Limerick and Kilmallock, Oisin O'Farrell, Limerick 20 from Muskegon. Wayne Kearns, another in the Piercy man who we saw prominently in the senior championship, and Killian Ahern of Blackrock. So again,
just there now, as you know, you was given citations for Killian Ahern. 2023 would be his breakthrough year.
Yeah.
Because he really nailed down a place on the Blackrock team and was a very, very, very important component of the team that was narrowly beaten in the county final.
Yeah,
so you're looking at very, very good hurlers. I think they're in the same group as UCC, dare I say.
Yeah. Yeah, UCC looking very strong as well there. And just to touch on other Limerick involvement, TUS Midwest, for those unaware, that is formerly LIT, just out there in Moylish in the north side of the city. Dara Casey, prominent for Grannon Ballingarry, he's involved. Ewan Sheridan of Maru Boher, Kevin Marcy of Ahan, Marcus Hogan of Napirshik, Michael Ryan of Maru Boher, and Sean Mernan of Bruff. Names, Matt, that we'll be familiar with in the latter rounds of different championships. I know Sean Mernan jumps out from, I think, the under-19 success with Bruff last year. Obviously, Dara Casey this year in the intermediate final, and Kevin Morrissey, we saw him with Ahan at the senior championship. So those guys will be hoping to obviously get into the 15 or in on the bench, but great opportunity for them to develop further, basically playing hurling year round.
Absolutely fantastic. And it's an opportunity for them to audition for John Kiley.
Yeah. Or indeed for the 20s if they're still eligible as well, of course. It depends on their age as well. They might be still 18 or 19, some of these guys. So, yeah, ideal opportunity. And some others as well. You mentioned UCC, Eddie Stokes of Doon.
Eddie Stokes is with UCC, and if we're to judge on his form playing for Doon, there is no reason whatsoever why he won't be a starter for UCC.
Yeah, and it's a fairly strong looking UCC panel, so he'll have his work cut out, albeit you say he's in good form, so hopefully he'll continue that. SETU,
I'd be hoping to see him in the 2 group games.
Yeah, I think fingers crossed there for Eddie. SETU Waterford have Robbie Hanley and Barry Hennessy. They're not freshers, or they're not just out of pressure. These guys, I suppose, have gone back for more education, and as a byproduct are going back and getting a little bit more hurling too. We saw Barry Hennessy involved last year down in Waterford, so he's in for another installment. Robbie Hanley, a man who was on the Limerick panel, I think it was up to the end of 2022. So maybe, a little bit of a point to prove, maybe not a point to prove, but, wants to show what he's about. He's been on a lot of benches for Limerick in championship games. So has clearly, put in the spade work to get that far in what is this all-conquering Limerick team. So look, that starts mid-January into February, and I think probably conclude late February, early March. So we'll touch on that closer to the time. But great to see so many Limerick players involved around those teams, and I'm sure there's a couple of others I'd missed dotted around the various other teams. Matt, switching over to the Sigerson, John Hayes from St. Kieran's involved again with UL at Sigerson level. Eli Reardon of Father Casey's, Cormac Wolfe of St. Senans, and Dara Murray of Monaleen. They're all with UL, who start their campaign on the 10th of January at home to ATU Donegal. And one other Limerick involvement to note is Zach McCarthy. I've always been a fan of this guy when I've seen him for Galtee Gales. He's lining out with MTU Cork, which formerly CIT as well. All these rebrands still trying to capture him. But again, Matt, important for Limerick football that we have guys competing and involved in Sigerson. It's no coincidence that the top counties in either code are prominent in these panels. Obviously, you'd see a lot of Kerry involvement, you'd see a lot of Dublin involvement. It's no coincidence that those guys emerge over time onto 20s and onto senior teams for their counties. It's absolutely no coincidence.
Yeah, look, we have a very, very strong representation on the UL. We all know about John Hayes and what he brings. Eli O'Riordan and Cormac Wolf are definitely emerging county footballers. And to me, one of the successes of this year, and I've seen him playing a couple of times, and it was so pleasing. He was an outstanding minor, but to see Dara Murray making the transition as a senior player with Mona Lean, I thought he was at times this year he was exceptionally good, and it's nice that to think that he will get an opportunity as well in the Sigerson Cup. Now, John Hayes missed a lot of the Limerick Championship, unfortunately, because he picked up a nasty injury in the last minutes of the game against Ula in the opening round. But John Hayes is an extremely talented footballer,
Yeah.
And the four guys that you're looking at there, I wouldn't be in the least bit surprised were there to appear on Jimmy Lee's first panel that he would be naming for the game against Kerry in the McGrath Cup in 2 or 3 weeks' time.
Yeah. The only thing that might count against them, of course, is their involvement in this. So Jimmy is going to try and have to weigh it up as we see it. But yeah, nevertheless, they'll be thereabouts, I'm sure, as the year goes on with Limerick.
They're in the ether for the senior panel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioned that Kerry game. That's in the McGrath Cup on January 8th in Limerick, venue and all that TBC. Limerick will play at Tipperary then in the other group game on the 13th, and the top team from those three will go to the final with the other three Munster counties in the other group. And in hurling, the draw was made for the Munster Hurling League. Limerick will travel to Clare on the 2nd of January, and then they will host Cork. Presumably, the Clare game will be in 6 Mile Bridge under lights, and the Limerick and Cork game will be in the Gaelic grounds on the 7th. But those exact details are TBC in the coming days. So, Matt, these competitions, some people want them binned. I think it's a perfect way to whet the appetite for the year ahead. Now, maybe I'm a little bit biased because it's our way of getting out of the house after Christmas, but we're definitely not alone in that. But these competitions have had their place, certainly for Limerick hurlers down the years. They've been able to blood players, been able to get guys back who have come back from injuries. So I don't think they should be binned just yet.
Yeah, we saw that about 2 months ago. The GPA voted to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Of these competitions, but such a motion wasn't binding on the GAA. But they've been held on. Yes, they're an early opportunity for players, to showcase what they can do to their respective counties and for the county managers. And John Kiley has used this competition very wisely during the course of his reign. And we've won it a couple of times. And we won it in 2022, if you'll recall, Tom, with essentially what was a second-string team.
Yeah.
When Barry Nash led us to success in that competition after beating Clare in the final in Ennis. So, I think they certainly have a purpose. And the one thing that rankles with me, when I see it every year, it annoys me, I have to say. And that is that the McGrath Cup, the original concept of the McGrath Cup was that it was for the 4 weaker teams in the province. i.e. Limerick, Tipperary, Clare and Waterford. But for some reason it has been allowed to be hijacked by Cork and Kerry. And I think that's disappointing because it defeats the purpose for which the competition was set up.
Yeah.
And all right, Limerick won it in 2021, was it?
2020, just before COVID, yeah. The big
Sorry,
Cork.
2020. The night they completed the McGrath Cup and the Munster Senior League double in the Gaelic grounds. But I think it would have been, if the competition was run as it was intended to in its infancy, it would give a head start to the weaker counties. But as far as I was concerned, when Cork and Kerry were admitted to the competition, we were, I didn't want to hear any more lip about doing something for the weaker counties.
Yeah. It's gone. Yeah. Well, there you go. But Limerick will definitely start against probably a weakened Kerry, but it's Kerry nonetheless. So we shall see on that one. That probably will head for McNeville Park, but might depend on ticket sales. It might have to go elsewhere. So wait to see on the venue for that. The 8th of January is that one in the football, and it's the 2nd of January. If you're getting tired of dipping your hand in the roses or the celebrations, it might be a good time to get out of the house on 2nd of January for the hurling, who will make their bow, and we'll see who exactly has made it into the panel in the short term at least. Matt, one final point from this week. Aaron Gillan, very unsurprisingly, crowned the Munster Hurler of the Year for 2023. There's no surprise to you or I, no surprise to anyone that's watched hurling this year. Obviously, he won the top honour, the Hurler of the Year nationally, so it's unsurprising that this one has come his way. But a superb year. He had a great year in the Munster competition itself, of course. That goal in the final against Clare and obviously various other high points along the way, and then he carried that into the All-Ireland Championship with 2 goals against Galway. So another reward for Aaron, and I'm sure that'll sit nicely on the mantelpiece this Christmas.
Congratulations to Aaron. I know we're saying that quite a bit this year, but he deserves every kudo and any accolade that's going his way. Like he's been an absolute fantastic year. My opinion about Gavin Gillan in 2023 is, for the most part, Tom, that he's been unplayable. He has been absolutely fantastic. I just saw a playback at the goal he got in the league final against Kilkenny only as late as last night. So he showed early season form, brought it right through to the championship and brought it right through to Croke Park, and was such a huge part in Limerick making it 4 in a row. Absolutely heartiest congratulations to Aaron Gillan, richly deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is about all we'll have time for on this week's podcast.
Tom, before you go, can I mention we're talking about Christmas stockings and all that sort of a thing, and
what to fill them up with,
for Limerick GA fans, there was never more reading out there than there is this year, because we have 3 books with a very, very, very strong Limerick hurling and Limerick GAA content. First of all, we had the work of James London, Liam O'Brien and Niall Deegan in 1973, Keeping the Dream Alive. It was brought out this year to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the 1973 All-Ireland success. It's an absolutely fantastic production. I'm almost finished it, but it's a fantastic, absolutely fantastic production. And there should be no home without one. No, there should be no Limerick fan without him. But it's extremely, extremely good value, and it's a fantastic publication. And there's tremendous photographs in it. Some of the photographs, as we have said here in this medium when the lads were in with us, that haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Another excellent production is Limerick, The Game of My Life by David Byrne. And I was at the launch of it the other night in Kilmallock, and we had some of the former greats there, and we had a very, very lively discussion, and we went through with the 5 lads about their career, and then a lively discussion on basically the state of hurling and things that we might like to see changed. Andrew O'Shaughnessy was there, Mossy Dowling, TJ Ryan, Paddy Kelly, and Mike Houlihan. You were talking about hurling aristocracy that were there, so real hurling big hitters. But it's an excellent book. It's an excellent book, and it is the story and the best game of their lives of 30 Limerick players, spanning from 1955 and the first interview in it is the recently deceased Vivian Cobb, which is huge to get it down on paper before he sadly passed away, right up to the modern day hurlers, the Sean Finns and the Graham Mulcahys of this world, the Dan Morrises. It's an excellent production, and the third one is a huge voluminous book extending to almost 600 pages, written by 2 Limerick men who have made a noble and huge contribution to hurling, football, ladies football, and camogie in our county. I'm talking about Joe Lyons and Kieran Crowe. They have published 50 years of the history of Cumann and Munskull. An absolutely excellent production. And, these 2 guys, they are award-winning. They have numerous awards won, particularly for their production of The Green and White, a magazine, which is an absolutely outstanding production, coming out about once a quarter, excellent. And they've spent about 3 years putting this together for the Cumann and Munskull in Ireland from the 32 counties. But I'd have to say this, and I'm not one bit biased when I say it, Tom, that Cumann and Munskull, the way it is ordered in Limerick and the way it is organised in Limerick, and to the extent that it is organised, is a paragon for any county. And the fingers of Cumann and Munskull are strewn all over Limerick's success. So many have started off of our present team through Cumann and Munskull. So there are 3 books really, really worth having this Christmas.
Yeah, and I know most of the lads, the authors involved, just to touch on it finally, you mentioned Cumann and Munskull. The last game I was involved in that was for Ballyround against Patrickswell. I won't tell you the score now, we won't ruin a good surprise, but Joe Lyons had just come in as principal of Ballyround at the start of 2006. This was June 2006. And straight away, you could see, even as a 12-year-old as I was at the time, I could see his passion for the game. He's a Kerry man. It didn't bother him. Hurling, football, camogie, ladies football, he pushed them all. And Kieran, who was involved in Patrickswell School, which was kind of the funny thing, but only up the road from each other, but they pushed it, and they didn't just push it in their own schools, as the book I'm sure will allude to, and maybe they probably don't tell you what they did themselves, but they pushed it all over the county, Matt. Anyone that's followed the Green and White page on Twitter will see regularly. I think Joe probably, both of them probably manage it, but there'll be a photo of Declan Hannon lifting one of the cups with his school. There'll be someone of Seamus Flanagan playing. There'll be one of Peter Casey in a jersey that's way too big for him, etc., etc. And as you say, that's where it started for a lot of these fellas. Before they had any success with their club, they had success with their school, and maybe that wasn't even success, but they had the enjoyment of playing the game of hurling or indeed football with their school, and that's that's probably what the lads try to get across in the book as to where it is.
Yeah, but it's just not getting it across in the book. Anybody can come down and see how they're getting it across on the pitches across the schools here in County Limerick.
Yeah,
the 2 lads have done a phenomenal job, and I would like in a future podcast that we would invite them in to have a chat with them, because they have done phenomenal work, Tom.
Yeah, and absolutely. I can the only difficulty there is which book do you get, but I'm sure you could easily persuade someone to get you one of each and you'll have them all sorted. I have seen two of them. I haven't seen the Common Mulscon one in my hand yet. The other two I've seen, and I tell you, they're top drawer. So if our recommendation is anything to go by, there's a stocking filler for a loved one of yours if you're not sure what to get him this Christmas. But that's where we leave it on Treaty Talk this week. We'll be back next week with the review of the season across the various different codes and grades. So thank you very much, and we'll talk to you very soon.